Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Yaya Diamond. We are everywhere. We are on the DuPont Network, and I hope that you guys are literally tuning into the DuPont Network because I am on the DuPont Network every weekday night at 11 p.m., reaching 4 million people. Hi! It's a lot of people. All right, so where am I? 4 million people on the DuPont Network, DuPontNow.com. I'm also on the Right Network. I'm on oh my gosh, LWR London. What's up? Hello, people over there on the pond. I'm going over there in January. This is going to be a great thing. And I really really stopped doubting my abilities. I'm going. I'm doing it. I'm not going to, and you know what? That reminds me of this guy that wrote a book. There's this guy. I think his name is Otis. He wrote a book. How dare you doubt your capability? Let me put it up. Let me put it up because I want to make sure. The audacity of doubt. Okay, you have the audacity to give advice to everybody else about what they should be doing in their lives, but you can't do it. Pursuing your goals, pushing through your limited beliefs to live your best life, and you can't even do it. And you can give advice, but you can't take it. I am giving you a moment to just take it all in, and let's talk to Otis because Mr. Gore is here, and I am excited to have him. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. That was a great intro. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I am
Thank you
pushing
so
through
much.
my limited beliefs. Actually, my beliefs aren't limited anymore. They're more like really big.
Yes, the bigger the better.
The bigger the better. Let's see how many of these things I can get done in this lifetime. But
Absolutely.
let's go back for you.
Uh-huh.
Let's go back because we were talking a little bit earlier before the show. And we were talking about your limited beliefs and you giving out advice, but then it was like, okay, you said you felt a little hypocritical of
Mhm.
not having a book and then giving out all this advice. So when did this started flipping for you? Because people give advice all the time. All the time.
Right.
But
Yeah,
when did this
absolutely.
flip for
So
you?
for me, right, I come
Mhm.
from New York City. I'm from the Bronx, and I'm
What? Mickey Downs, Sedgwick,
look at
Porterville
that.
Great Concourse. Hey, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So I always was this guy that people always tend to come to for advice or mentorship, or they just saw me this way. Any job I had in corporate America, I always was in some sort of leadership position. Like they would tell me, I become supervisor or manager, what have you. And I was fine with that. It's just that, as I was giving out so much information and I was helping so many people, I journaled so much. I still journal even to this day. So I have journals from all the way back in the day. And I started looking at all the stuff I was telling people and I read it and I was saying to myself, there's a lot of advice that I'm giving people, but am I actually doing it myself? Like, am I actually doing what I'm telling them to push through to live their dreams? And I said to myself, okay, what's on your bucket list, Otis? Well, you've always wanted to write a book. And even when I first started this process 2.5 years ago, and I only told a few people, the people that I did tell, they said, well, it's about time. We thought you'd have it already. So that made me go, oh, okay, so all right, so I need to really push this to really be even more impactful with a tangible book of words and stories and quotes and points to help them push forward. And that's what I did. And like the book came out in August, and I'm so happy about the results so far. And I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I
Oh,
can tell people I was with Yaya, a diamond. I was with,
hey,
absolutely. Here's the book.
man, that is oh wow. I absolutely love the cover of this book. I like it
Thank
because
you.
it really depicts like, hey, you have that face. Like, what are you doing?
Right. That's what I was going for. I thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah, it was like, what do you do? Come on,
Yeah,
really?
it's amazing. You know what's amazing though? Yeah, yeah. The I self-published the book, so I have my own publishing company,
Hmm.
Decalo Press, and I hired a marketing company to help me with the editing and all that. And they actually wanted me to not use my face on the cover
Why?
because they said I wasn't famous. They said people like Oprah and people that they do that because they're a personality, and I was like, maybe I'll be there one day, right? So, and they even wanted me to change the name of the book
Why?
because they said that they didn't know whether people are gonna understand what what the meaning is. And I was like, everybody knows what audacity means, you
Yeah.
know. So they wanted me to change it to something like connect to your life.
Uh,
And I was like, what? No, I said that doesn't pop. It doesn't pop.
uh.
So that's the whole point of self-publishing, is to have the control.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
to have the
Well,
control.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think that, what you've done and how you did it and the name and the title and your picture on there, how are you going to be famous if you're not like visually visualized? Like people
Yeah.
can't see you, you know? It doesn't make sense. It's like someone who says, oh, you have to have this kind of experience in
Uh-huh.
order to work here.
Yeah.
Well, daggone it, how am I going to get the experience if I never get the opportunity to work
Right.
somewhere?
Exactly.
That is an oxymoron for me.
Yeah.
So obviously, I absolutely love that your picture is on the cover, and I
Thank you.
absolutely love that the audacity of you doubt, the doubt that you had, the authenticated audacity is what my mom used to say. And
Yeah.
it's like, how can you give advice and not, be
And
the
that.
advice and take the advice for yourself?
Yeah.
When you used to give advice, was it harder for you to accept the advice that you were giving as something that you could probably implement in your life? Did you ignore it like most people do and just give it and not do anything about it? Or were you like apt and open to taking it yourself and moving forward as well as giving it for other people?
Well, anytime that I do give advice to someone, or I mentor someone, or I coach someone, I do think about how that can affect me.
Mm-hmm.
Before I give the advice, but if they ask me, then I think about, well, how can this impact my life? Or how can I use this information as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So even before, so I try to strategize and think about things before I provide the advice, depending on the question that what they need advice on.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to say, well, you know what? I can actually implement that in my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that to myself, obviously. But there's certain things that it depends on what the person needs. If the person needs a certain advice on certain things, I may already have the answer. I've already experienced it. And even if I haven't experienced it, I can give them an idea of what I would probably do in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, speaking of, writing a book, right? I have people who I know that have been telling me for 15, 16, 10 years that they want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. But they never saw it through.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what I mean. So I said, it kind of was like, well, you keep saying it, but you're not actually doing it. So maybe you don't really want to do it. Maybe whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, it doesn't have enough value to you in order to actually see it through.
Yeah.
So for me, anything that I feel that I truly believe that I can actually accomplish, I push to that, because I feel like it's three different ways that people look at life. They can either intrigued by something, or someone, or somewhere, or they believe in someone or somewhere or something, or they truly believe.
Mm-hmm.
Those three things are entirely different. When you're intrigued by something or someone, that just means that there's some interest. Okay, that's cool. That's not bad, huh? But I don't believe enough to take some steps
Right.
towards it. Then I might see something that, hey, I believe I might could do that, or I believe this person might be this, or what have you. Then you take some steps. Then you got some adversity, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start to fall back a little bit. Maybe it's not for me. But then you find that thing, or that one thing, or those people, that place that truly believe that that's for you. No matter what happens, you're gonna see that through.
Yeah.
Like Les Brown said, you fall down, look up, see the ceiling, you get back up.
Oh yeah.
You know. So
Sometimes
that's
you fall down,
that's
you
I
see the
told my
floor.
daughters the same thing.
My gosh, I tell you what, sometimes you fall down, you see the floor. You gotta turn the other way.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
gotta
I
go
fall down,
under
see the ceiling. I'm like, do I really want to get back up? I don't know.
Oh goodness, oh good. That is wonderful. I absolutely love that. And not many people do that. I'm
Yep.
gonna say that not many people take their own advice. A lot of people, what they do is they ignore it. They give the advice, but they don't take the advice. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, and then later on, they're like,
Yeah.
"Did I say that? Did I really mean that? Was that something that I wanted to do? Should I be do? I should be doing that."
Yeah. I think you know who I think should really take their own advice. I know this might sound a little crazy, but like I don't like I know like see how when you ladies go get your nails done and all that, right?
Oh, I don't do that.
Well, let's say when the ladies get their nails done or the hairdresser, why is it that the person doing the nails they got terrible nails?
Yeah,
You ever notice that? And why
I
is it that
do.
the person that your hairdresser doing your hair, her hair is not that great? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like it's like hold on though, you making other people look great, but what about you?
yeah.
I always feel like the most important relationship you have in your life is with yourself.
Mhm.
Number one.
Yeah.
Okay. So if my brother had asked me the other day, he said, you got to make sure that your children is number one. But I said, no, no, no. You're number one. He said, ain't that selfish? It's not selfish. You got to be number one so you can be sure that you're right for anybody else.
Yeah.
I said, if you yourself, if you ain't right inside, like the old African proverb states, if there's the enemy within, then the enemy outside could do us no harm. If you don't never have a conversation or a emotional relationship with yourself, if you don't work on that every day, you're not going to be no good for anybody,
That's right.
or you're not going to be 100%. You're always going to be a percentage. And like I tell people, you should never, when you're talking about greatness or success and what you're shooting for, what you should never do is contribute to it.
Mhm.
You should commit to it,
That's right.
because people contribute to a lot of things, but what do you actually commit to?
Mm, mm, mm. I love it. I was just highlighting something that you said in your bio here. It's the process was far from easy.
Uh-huh.
Confronting and articulating my struggles
Right.
required immense vulnerability and
Yeah.
honesty. What was that like for you to confront these things and to actually have to maybe make some corrections or even just to lay it on the line and say, here it is. This is what it
Yeah.
is.
It's funny because when I initially started writing the book, it did have a different name and it was a different concept. But as I was writing and I had to open up more and I had to be vulnerable and I had to be truthful, it changed. It changed in the middle of it. And I had to have the wherewithal or the fortitude to actually change it. Because
Mhm.
then that meant, do I got to start this book over? Or do I got to start from this point? Or I got to write four different chapters? So I had to be vulnerable because I had to write it in a way that if someone like Yaya was reading it, that me and her are having a conversation.
Mhm.
Like I'm talking to her and she's listening, or she's listening to me.
Right.
So in order for me to go into certain spaces, like to tell people from that I'm from the Bronx and there was no I was on food. My mom was on food stamps. She was a single mom. There was no resources or any type of opportunity. I had to say that because I had to give them an idea of where it was coming from, and I had the audacity to push to get out of that. Because
Yeah.
believe me, yeah, there was no resources. I'm talking like the Bronx, burned out buildings, all of that.
I know about that. I live
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I live
So
there.
and
Yeah.
there was no like I had to really think outside of there is actually something more than what I was actually experiencing.
Mhm.
I had to really, really, really think about that.
Wow.
So then a lot of us right now, especially in our community, they don't push through that. They
Mhm.
just succumb to that particular
Yeah.
pressure. All right.
Yeah, and
So
they stay there.
yeah, and they stayed there. And that's funny you said that. There's a part of my book that I call living in your settlement, meaning that you can have a decent job or make a little money, have an apartment, have a little house, or have a car, and because you're surviving and you got food on the table, that's fine for you, and that enables you from not pushing for what you really want.
Yeah.
It does that, and you'd be surprised how easy that can happen.
Wow.
Because, like I told my daughters, everybody in the world are is an energy. We're human. We're ordinary, except when you see someone doing something more, people tell you take that extra step, do the
Mhm.
extra. Those are ordinary people doing extraordinary things,
Yeah.
like Yaya.
Thank you.
You
Thank
know,
you.
she
I
she
try.
she had the audacity to believe that
Yeah.
she could have a great podcast, she could have a YouTube channel, she can be on all these channels in the UK, all this thing, but nobody else was going to believe that except for you.
They didn't believe it.
There you go. No one see. No, everybody's journey is different.
Mhm.
You're on your own. I read this book years ago called the Energy Bus. I don't know if you
Mhm.
ever heard of it. But the energy bus talks about who's on your journey, who's on your bus. You're the driver of your bus. If you don't want these people on your bus, tell them they gotta get off at the next stop.
That's it. Next stop. I'm stopping right now.
Yeah, I use an analogy in the
My
last time I was
boss.
training my, because like I said, I'm a real estate agent, but the last time I was training the agents, I advised them. You got to kind of use terms in what they'll understand. So when you selling a house, you have to do an appraisal to make sure it comes in at value,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at your life, do a discontinuous, look who's around you, and do an appraisal on the people around you. Who comes in undervalue, who comes in at value, and who comes in a little above value.
Yeah. Hmm.
And sometimes that's family members, kids, close friends, because the people that are closest to you hurt you the most, right?
Oh yeah.
So some people got to be loved from afar,
Mm-hmm.
because success is alone. Trying to be great, it's a lonely journey, because only you know exactly what you're willing to do to get to a point. Only you, nobody else.
Mm-mm. Wow.
Nobody else. We are all display. You see, we got the background. We all on display, right? But success to me is not supposed to be obtained. It is actually supposed to be displayed. So if you
Mm-hmm.
grind, and hard enough for whatever you're going for, and you start to elevate and go up, now the success starts to appear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being displayed. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does make sense.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
but the biggest thing is that you do have to believe in your capabilities
Yeah,
beyond the people who have you know, diminished your,
yeah,
I say, dreams.
yeah. You
How
do.
did you deal with that? What was that like for you? Because like you said, everybody has their own thing, and like you said, the
Yeah.
next bus stop, I'm ready just to stop. It's my bus.
My bus, get
Get
off.
off.
No, it's that that's a good question, because you talk about vulnerability, right? And you
Right.
talk about openness, right?
Mhm.
What amazed me about this journey, about writing the book and getting to this point and releasing the book, now we got a tangible evidence that the book is here, right? Yaya, I'm gonna tell you, what you just asked me just now, it made me find out who's really with me and who ain't. I did. There were a few people, I won't name no names, who I was surprised
Mm.
at the limited support
Yeah.
that I was getting. It took me a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. Hmm. Oh, it's like that. Like, who was that? Maya Angelou. When
Hmm.
somebody show you who they are,
Believe
believe
them.
them.
Hmm.
And I was surprised, but it is what it is, because I realize not everybody's happy for you. Not
No.
everybody wants you to pull ahead. Not everybody is for you, and you find that out when you have adversities and when you have successes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you do. You find that out, and
Good.
it was very surprising to me. But
Wow.
it's fine as well, because I know that my biggest supporter is me,
Hmm.
and I notice that on a lot of things that I do, going on podcasts, doing all this, I am doing this as a singularity situation, meaning that you're on your own road, because no one wants it more than you. I call it micro emotions, right?
Hmm.
So micro emotions is if Yaya tells someone, "Hey, my podcast is now with 4 million people. Ain't that great?" Look at that initial reaction as soon as you tell them. That'll tell you what they really feel.
Hmm.
Yup,
I
right there.
know. I've
Then,
seen it.
then that second you tell them that, then they'll fall into, oh, that's great, that's great. That's a micro emotion. I pay attention to that.
Mm,
I
mm, mm.
definitely do.
Wow. Wow. And I absolutely love that you're going over these pointers and things that people should pick up on, but
Yeah,
they just don't because they want to believe that the people are for them. They want to believe that their family is for them. They want to believe that their best friend is
yeah.
going to be their best friend and they're going to be so excited and they're just going to jump for joy and they don't.
They
And that's
don't.
like, wow. How
Wow.
do you get over that? That is a hurdle within itself. And some people don't make it past the point and they don't go after their dreams because they feel like they have to please the people or stay with the people that
Yeah,
are literally belittling them and keeping them from being the successful person they want to
Yeah.
become.
I always tell people, if you come to me and you say, Otis, I was thinking about doing blah blah blah. I always wanted to do blah blah blah. And also, I will tell them, no, you didn't. Why? Because you ain't started yet. I
Mm,
said, your conversation to me, when you come to me, you're supposed to say, Otis, I started writing a book. Otis, I started working out. Otis, I made 10 calls, 15 calls today. I got one lead. That's what I want to hear. If
mm-hmm.
you if whatever it is you're looking to do and that holds enough value, you're already gonna do it. No one's gonna tell you nothing. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And that comes from you being a coach. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen online that you are coaching, that you do. And do you use that in your everyday life, even with your own family members and your children, or if you have
Yeah.
children or
Yeah,
people
I
who
have
know
two
you?
daughters. My daughters are older, 22 and 28.
Mm-hmm.
But I always advise them, even when they were kids, I would say, listen, there's a word that I want you guys, two words I want you guys to really, really focus on. One, accountability. Two, appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you have to be accountable for whatever it is that you do, good or bad. All right? Just be accountable. If you know that there's something that you're supposed to do and it didn't happen because you know that you didn't do everything you're supposed to do, take accountability for that.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's not a problem. Doesn't mean that as long as you're 6 feet above ground, you have another shot.
Right.
If you know that there's someone or something happened and someone did something for you that wasn't that you didn't expect, or if you see have someone doing for that, have some appreciation. Listen, we might have got into a little tiff, but I appreciate what you did for me.
Right.
Okay, always have accountability and appreciation, because most of us don't. You see, the human spirit, you know what we do, unfortunately, human nature preys on the weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, human nature is all about, what can I get? What can I get out of this situation?
Mm-hmm.
What can I get from this? Or, what's my ulterior motive? Everybody, and you probably know this, Yaya, has some ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Everybody does
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. You just got to be able to recognize recognize the points.
Yeah.
One thing about being a Pisces, and I read this somewhere, that Pisces are very intuition. They have good intuition, and that's true. I can read someone and be like, the vibe is off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say his name, but I'm pretty sure if I would have met did, I would have been like, no, I'm joking.
Stop it.
I would have been like, yo, my man, you cool people, but something's a little off. No, I'm
Ooh, a little off there, buddy. Okay.
little my friend. But the thing here is, everybody, it's like if you see that light, there's a light, right, that the fly killer, I call it. The light, when you're trying to track, when you put up in your house, on the outside on your porch, and all the flies are there,
Mm-hmm.
and the light is attracting them, and the light is there. They all come there, and they get close enough, they get burned, and they're supposed to die, right?
Right.
That's how it is with people. As soon as that light dims and it
Mm-hmm.
sputters, there's nobody around, right? There's no
Wow.
flies. There's nothing. It's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever there's a certain light that's going on with someone, there's always people lurking around trying to be a part of that, because it's happening now. What people see is the end result. But
Yeah.
people are rewarded for what they do in the dark, right? What they do behind closed doors, what they do in private.
Mm-hmm.
Then they bring it out to fruition. But most people, when they see something's already done and all the risk has been taken and it's on a certain level, they want to be down.
Oh, come on. Come on.
They want
We
to be
all,
down.
we know about that. We know about that. We know about that.
Yeah, what was you? But where was you in the struggle, right? So when I talked about
MIA.
appreciation, that's what I told my daughters. When you get to a certain level, think about who was actually there while you were going through the struggle. Who was there?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the ones you keep close.
Mm-hmm.
The people
Yep.
that's coming from the outside, you got to be careful.
Do. You have to. You have to.
You have to.
Wow. What, when it comes to writing your book, when it comes to putting together these whole things, and then now, do you use your book to implement your coaching sessions at all?
Yeah. So one of the main reasons why I did write the book is to expand my brand, of course, and to have a little bit more credibility in what I tell people and what I send to people. Because one thing I did realize is that when I do tell people that I wrote a book and it came and they see it, a lot of people are surprised.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, that's good, because they know what it takes to actually do that. It takes patience. Because, like I said, some days I had nothing to write, But if it's just a little bit more impactful if you trying to get new coaching clients and you're trying to show them, say, look, you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta have some discipline. Like I said, do not
Mhm.
contribute to what you want. You gotta be committed to what you want, right?
Right.
So if you commit to something, then you could have something to fruition, like a book. I said, listen, I committed to writing a book, and here it is. It's right
Hmm.
here in front of you. It's tangible.
That's right.
So yeah, I wrote the book for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is to have more credibility and to be more impactful on what I'm trying to do in the future. Like, obviously, as you can see, I also a certified speaker. I like doing speaking engagements. It's more I have more credibility, or it's more credible when you trying to get a speaking gig and they say, well, what do you do? Well, I wrote the book, blah blah blah. Oh, okay. It's a little different. Put you on a little different level.
Yeah.
If you have something like, for example, if Yaya does speaking gigs, they'll say, oh, I'm Yaya Diamond, I have this podcast for me, and people, oh, you look different. Like I say, if you look at things differently, things you look different, right?
Yeah.
So you have a platform now. You have a large platform, so you can tell people that I do this. Oh, word, oh, okay.
Hmm.
I mean, you're helping me right now. I appreciate it.
Oh, I love this. This is what I do, but I have to write a book according to everybody else.
Yeah, and you already on the level to do it. But
Right.
you have to think about when you do it. What is my message? What am I going to write about? Who am I
Yeah.
trying to reach?
There's a lot of things to say. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to focus. How did you focus? How did you choose your title? How did you choose your subject? Because I'm sure, and I can bet you, I don't bet money, but I can bet you another interview that you have so much more to say and it's not in this book.
Yes, that is true. I didn't want like a really thick book,
Right.
right? Because I wanted, in this process, I noticed that everything was so technical, not just the book cover, the text on the front, the picture on the front, the size of the text inside the book, the spacing, right? So I noticed that with a lot of people, when you see like a novel, they're like, "Oh God, that's a lot of words," so they get detracted. So I wanted a quick read. I got like 135, 140 pages. I wanted something quick
Mm-hmm.
where they can take, and then once they read it, then they can now reference the book. Meaning,
Okay.
oh, I need to work on my time. Read
Okay.
the chapter on time. I need to work on my value. Read the chapter on value. Read the chapter on growth. Read the chapter on mindset. So that they can use it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want it to be, be honest with you, I don't want to use the word, but when people see like a thick novel, it's like intimidating. How long is it going to take me to read this? And
Yeah.
what I also noticed that when the words and the text are really small, it looks like a lot of words. They're like, is it on Audible?
Well, where are my glasses? I've
Where
said
are my glasses?
that.
But I have gotten some compliments on the fact that the texts were larger. So they said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I like the fact that the texts are large, that I can, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you don't have
less it's less intimidating to be more inviting."
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. The reason why I didn't say a lot here is because there's a lot more to say on the next book. You know,
Aha.
this is still the early stages of
Aha.
this
I
one.
knew it.
There is a lot more to say, because even as I read this, I was like, I felt like, even though the book is out, I felt like I want to change some things, but you know,
Yeah. It is difficult too because I mean you really want to say something, you have to really focus. So this book was your focus on not doubting yourself. And I want to go ahead and go back to the book really quick and show everybody the audacity. How can you give advice to other people and not take your own advice? That is called the audacity of doubt. You need to push through those limited beliefs to attain your true, your real, your prosperous, your best, your
right,
most fulfilled. I mean, whatever and however you want to say it, life.
right?
And I think that you really hit it on the nail. Love that you're on the cover. Love that you left the title alone.
Thank
I
you.
mean, because we do need this. And I
I
love it. Absolutely love it.
appreciate it so much. Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
That
Is
is,
there something that you want to tell our listeners today on how they can move forward? Just something that you normally would say, to one of your coaching clients.
yeah. So uh, the main thing that I want to tell people today is don't have any fear or any doubt or any conscience in your mind that you can't obtain something that you truly believe that you can. Because as I said before, you might be intrigued by it. You may believe you could do it, but you got to find that thing that you truly believe is for you. All right, that thing, or whatever that is, that place, that thing is what you really push for, and then you accomplish that. Where we come from normally, unfortunately, there's so much, there's so much adversity around us that we do get caught. So it's going to take a certain level of a mental fortitude to really push to live the life you feel you deserve. But a lot of us don't feel like we deserve more than what we have. But you do deserve more.
Hmm.
Okay. And don't let no one tell you that you don't. Don't let no one tell you what you can and cannot do. You will do exactly what you truly believe you can. And don't just tell them what you're gonna do. Just start the process. Just do it. Just go for it. But and one more thing I want to say is that there's this uh motivational speaker. He said something. His name is Billy Alsbrooks, right? You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Very good, right? Also excellent guy. And we're actually friends on Facebook. He said something one time, and I remember this from like 2017. But sometimes you hear things, and you only got to hear it once, and it sticks. Do you believe that?
Mm.
So he said something about your circumstances, right? He said circumstances are born out of a mindset that allows them to exist. Then he
Mm.
said you have to overcome your current circumstance in order to even qualify for your own destiny.
Wow.
And when he said that, I was like, that's powerful. He said that, and that stuck with me, right? Because a lot of us are in a certain circumstance, and we live there, and we stay there, and we allow it to beat us down,
Wow.
and we allow the circumstance to just constantly drain us. I was telling someone recently that I don't normally take the train. I haven't taken the subway in years, like years, right? And what I remember about the subway is one, everybody had, newspaper. There was a lot of graffiti, and I remember the look on people's faces of the drain, or of the city, or the pressures and everything. I remember the look on people's face. This was years ago. So I had to go downtown to take an interview on Wall Street on a radio interview, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna take the train. I didn't know how much the train cost or anything. So I just used my debit card, and you can use it, and then boom, you can get on the train, right? But when I got on the train, a few things I noticed. One, nobody had newspapers anymore. Two, no one was reading a book. Three, everyone was on their phone. Four, I see a lot of older ladies standing up. No one was giving them their seat. But the main thing that I did see is the look on their faces did not change.
Hmm.
The same look from 27 years ago is there. The strain, the pressures, life beat you down, and people are staying there. They're living in their settlement.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
All right. A lot of those people, what I was thinking about Yaya, I said, wow, these people here, a lot of the people here, I don't know them personally, but they had a lot of fear and a lot of doubt, and they succumbed to it. And I said to myself, the audacity of them not believing in their own potential.
Mm.
Yeah, the audacity of that, of them just not believing. Who's going to believe in you if you don't?
Yeah.
Right? You can't want it. I always tell people, you can't, whatever you're going for, you can't want it more. You have to want it more than whoever is pushing you. You got to want it more. It's got to mean more to you than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's got to mean more to you. So I tell the people out there that's listening today, if it's something that you truly believe you can achieve, you need to go for it, and don't and put your blinders on like the horses do, so you don't get no distractions when they're in the race. That's the reason why they have them on in the first place.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Otis. I appreciate you. If you guys want to contact Otis or get the book or check it out or whatever the case may be, if you want to go for the goal that you have, the audacity of you not to, hello, then you need to go ahead and get with the program. It's not that much of a program and it's not that big of a program to get with. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Otis, thank you so much for being here and for sharing. I mean, okay, there is no excuse for me not writing that book now. I'm going to
You'll do
go.
it. You'll do it. If you want, I'll write the forward for you. No problem.
Oh, you.
I would say forward by Otis D. Gore, and you see my picture like this. No, no, no.
That fits what I want to do.
That's what I say. So remember, so my book is available on Amazon. You can
Yes.
also get the book at my website, otisdgoreauthor.com. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at Gore Otis D. And my name is Otis Otis, and that name is to me. I made an acronym. It stands for Optimistic Thoughts Inspire Success.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we have that on the bottom of your website, and we're going to go ahead and put that information in the description box wherever you may be watching. But if you are watching on the television channel or somewhere else, and you'd like to know more, just go ahead and go to our YouTube page. That's Dream Chasers Radio, where we'll have that information for you as well. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, Otis. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, anytime. And I won. I don't have to give you another interview, but you are coming back. So, hey,
Yes, I would love to.
next book, you have to come back. Thank you. All right, guys. And until next time, don't forget to dare to be different. Bye.